Regretfully, Defy Media has ceased operations today. We are extremely proud of what we've accomplished here at Defy, and in particular want to thank all the employees who work here. We deeply regret the impact that this has had on them today. Unfortunately, market conditions got in the way of us completing our mission. That was posted in a statement 5 hours ago, and I am so frustrated. They didn't warn any of their employees that this was going to happen. They just shut down today for, what did they say? Market conditions got in the way. What does that mean, market conditions? I've had so much to say about Defy Media for a very long time, but I've avoided saying all of it because I have so many friends that work, or I guess worked at Defy Media, and I wanted to protect them. I didn't want anything that I said to jeopardize their job security there. But you know what? They screwed over my friends today. And I feel like I can't keep faking like I'm totally cool with Defy Media, as I've done for so long. In my Why I Left Smosh video, for example, I beat around the bush because I wanted to protect my friends. But now that Defy Media isn't a thing anymore, I just have to say everything that I'm feeling. I've been hiding it publicly for so long, and I feel like I just have to get it off my chest and out into the world so people really understand what was really going on behind the scenes at Defy Media. I guess just to start back at the beginning, Ian and I sold Smosh in 2011 to what eventually became Defy Media. And we sold it for stock in the company, which was great. We were both from a small area outside of Sacramento. I grew up without much money. I was pretty poor, and I was like, you know what, this is great. I would love to sell my brand. So I sold it for $0. Selling for stock means that it's completely valueless unless that company goes public, which it never did. I sold Smosh for $0. That's on me. That's on us. We had no representation. We didn't understand. I don't know if we were purposely taken advantage of, but we were taken advantage of, and that's my bad. That's my bad. I really can't complain about that. Should have been a little bit smarter when selling a company, considering it had millions of views and was really popular. I should have really taken my time to figure out what selling really meant and what stocks really meant, but you live and you learn, and you go to therapy. We were given salaries at this company, which was great. Super happy with that, but that company was drawing in millions of dollars every year, and I was seeing a fraction of that. I have no idea where all that money went that the company was making, which I also just read had millions of dollars invested into it last year, and now it's gone. Where did all that money go? The last few months that I worked there, they started hiring new cast members and starting and stopping shows without consulting me first, which, you know, they had every right to. They owned the company. I was just an employee, but it hurt a little bit. I felt like I created this thing with my buddy, and we should kind of be consulted about these things, but it was just a company. Nothing more than that, and I was nothing more than an employee. Oh, they convinced us to start an Indiegogo campaign to raise money to start an iOS game that hadn't even been conceived. They just saw that some other YouTuber had started a Kickstarter to raise money, and they're like, ooh, you can do that too. Get some money from people. And there was no idea for that game. They were just like, put your face and reputation on the line, beg people for money for a game that has no concept whatsoever, and we'll just figure it out later. Let's just see how much we could raise. Naive children who donated money to us for this game. I think the game ended up being pretty fun. I ended up liking it, and I spent a lot of my time working on that. I made $0 from that. I don't know what the company did with that money. Why did they take that money in the first place? I don't know. They owe a ton of money to a whole bunch of people. You can Google it for yourself. And to top it all off, today they announced they're closing down without giving any kind of heads up to anyone, just out of the blue, closing down and putting so many people's livelihood on the line. There are people that have worked there at Smosh for 9 years. They have families. They've devoted so much of their life to making Smosh what it was, what it is, and they just completely betrayed them. And that bums me out. That's how they treat people. They treat people like they're not worth anything other than the amount of money that they can make them. I just don't know what happened. I don't know. They were hiring people weeks ago, and now they're shutting down because, what did they say? They said market conditions got in the way. What does that mean? Why can't they just be a little transparent? Maybe we would understand if they were transparent, but that's all they have to say. My issues with Smosh and wanting to leave Smosh have never been about the people that I used to work with. It's always been about Defy and what Defy Media has become and the way that they treat their employees. You know, as frustrated and annoying as all that was, it's over now. Defy Media is no more. And all I really want at this point is for my friends to not be completely screwed over. That's it. Thanks for listening to me ramble and complain for 10 minutes, but just had to get that off my chest.